This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy, and today I'm going to review the audit review of the New Haven incident. If you're watching this video, you're probably familiar with that. If not, I'm providing a link to the analysis in the comments section. I was asked to review this because there was a few points that folks felt needed to be reviewed. I think as of this moment, I just checked, there's 354,000 views to the audit's analysis of the New Haven case. And you can expect that to grow because he has 2.8 million subscribers. I contacted the audit to review this case because I thought he was the most appropriate social media outlet for this kind of thing. He does legal analysis of police interactions, and his channel, you should subscribe to it because he just does a fantastic job. Now, I also note a little bit about the audit. He's not an attorney. My understanding is he was an investigative journalist, and one of his previous jobs was to review Supreme Court decisions. And so it's pretty clear he's an expert at legal research and obviously research in general, because I didn't give him all the information for this story. I just pointed to the body cam footage of the case, and he did the research himself. And it's amazing the detail that he was able to come up with without any input from anybody involved in this situation, including me. And so he's an impressive guy, and we're very fortunate to have him do the legal analysis because I can do all the YouTube videos I want talking about this, and what credibility do I have to be doing a legal analysis on criminal matters? I'm an assessment real estate valuation expert. But anyway, but this case is interesting. Is that how our government treats the public, and so this is an open meetings law issue, but also a Fourth Amendment issue. So one of the points that was asked for me to review is that the audit mentioned that Holly, I forget her last name, that she was merely cited, Holly Bale, I'm sorry, and she was taken down to the police station, and she was booked, but she was released on her own recognizance. So she didn't have to spend the night in jail, and she didn't have to be hauled off in leg irons to the arraignment like Michelle Allen was. It's pretty clear the sheriff's department wanted to teach Michelle Allen a lesson, but Holly getting arrested for trespassing is just one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Those deputies, their job is to de-escalate situations, and they were creating problems where there were none, and which means they're creating legal issues, which cost the taxpayers money, for the judges, for the prosecutors, for the public defender, and she was put in a position where to get the case dismissed, that they wanted her to do an ACD, adjournment upon contemplation of dismissal, and basically, they dismissed the case, but it's kind of an admission of guilt to a certain degree, and they're putting people in a position to do that because who can afford to spend the money on an attorney to defend these ridiculous charges. But anyway, back to the audit's analysis. But I think he did an excellent job of reviewing the relevant issues, particularly the identification issue. Essentially, Michelle Allen was arrested for not identifying herself, and the audit indicated that Michelle Allen didn't have the right to demand a section of the law that she was violating. That the cops don't have to even discuss any of that. And but I think what became pretty apparent is that the deputy Gregory didn't know the law that she was charging Michelle Allen with. So I think Michelle Allen was appropriate to ask to show her the code of obstructing government administration, so they can review the code to see if it's relevant. So so we don't have to burden the taxpayers with the cost of this ridiculous prosecution. And had that deputy reviewed the obstruction of governmental administration, she would have seen that it requires intent to obstruct it. And there is obviously no intent. And so Deputy Gregory says that she is required by law to identify herself if she's being investigated, which is false. She does not have to identify herself because she's being investigated. That would mean that anybody anywhere could be identified because some cop says that they're investigating them. That's ridiculous. And so Deputy Gregory, should she be fired? Well, I think the biggest issue with Deputy Gregory is she has not been trained properly and she has not been supervised properly. If she can't lose that attitude, yes, she should be fired. There's no doubt about that. But part of her attitude came from the fact that she wasn't trained properly on the law. And she said at one point, I think it's 18-minute and 28-second mark of the audit video, she indicated that Michelle Allen had been ordered under threat of arrest 6 times to provide her ID, which is a demonstration that she hasn't a clue in the world about when she can and cannot demand ID. And it's pretty apparent that that's how she's been trained, which leads me to believe that the entire Oswego County Sheriff's Department has been trained improperly. It's outrageous. And that's why I wanted to get the audit involved to do the legal analysis of the situation. So you're not just taking my word for it that this is all ridiculous. They're supposed to de-escalate the situation. And what did Deputy Gregory do? Instead of doing an actual investigation to find out what happened in that hearing, what was the obstruction? What is exactly that she did? But she took the word of Dan Barney, a known criminal, in lieu of doing an investigation. So, I don't know, most people can't just go up to the sheriff and say, hey, I want you to arrest this person for whatever it is I said that they did, without the deputy doing an investigation. It's ridiculous. She did no investigation. She was negligent. And now the county may have to deal with what's known as a Monell claim. A Monell claim is a federal civil rights lawsuit regarding pattern and practice. And it is pretty apparent that it's a pattern of practice for the Oswego County sheriffs to demand ID under threat of arrest when they are not entitled to it by law. And in such a case, what would be the result that would cause the sheriff to change their patterns and practices? And I don't think $50,000 would change a damn thing that they would do. They would learn nothing from $50,000 or $100,000 or even $200,000. They would learn nothing from a settlement of that sort. They would want to have the petitioner sign perhaps a non-disclosure, or that they weren't at fault, things like that. I certainly hope that's not going to happen. Those people need to be trained, and they need to be accountable. And I tell you, I think that there should be legal ramifications for the district attorney maliciously prosecuting these people. It's ridiculous. It's pretty clear he didn't have a clue what was going on ahead of time, and they just charged her because the sheriff said so. And then halfway through, he started to realize that he's in over his head, and he's going to get the county sued. And so so what is it that would discourage them? I'm suggesting it'd be probably a couple $1,000,000. And so these people have exposed the taxpayers of Oswego County to about $2 million in liability because of their ego and their ignorance and their negligence. It's outrageous. So let me see. I covered that Holly Bale was in fact arrested. She wasn't just cited at the scene and allowed to leave. She was taken down and booked. And I didn't see her get handcuffed, but I assume that she was. Anyway, what more is there to say about the legal analysis? I think that the audit is pretty spot on. Now, the audit didn't get into the fact that Dan Barney is a criminal, because it's not really relevant to the legal analysis. Although it's just kind of bizarre that the sheriffs would take the word of a criminal without doing an investigation. So he didn't get into some of the personal aspects of this because it wasn't relevant to the legal analysis. And so what the audit does is he tries to be balanced in what it is that he's doing. He has a second channel where you can actually see his face, and you can hear what his philosophies are, why it is that he does what it is that he does. But he's not there to criticize the cops. He's there to criticize bad behavior, and he will cite bad behavior of the arrestees as well. So he tries to be fair and balanced about it and get down to the rights and wrongs. That's literally what he says. He's trying to get to the right and wrong of these police interactions, and I think he does a fantastic job. And I suggest that you subscribe to his channel. What more is there to say here? I've got a little list here. Bear with me. Let's see. Yeah, because you're being investigated, you have to provide ID. Well, they can detain you to investigate, but they can't demand your ID unless they have essentially probable cause. Don't listen to my analysis of that. Listen to the audit. And so he mentioned section 140.50, if they have reasonable suspicion of a crime. Well, that deputy never established whether she had reasonable suspicion. She just took the word of a criminal, of a known criminal. I think I covered just about everything. It's just astounding that they would arrest somebody on the word of anyone, let alone a convicted criminal. They have to do their own investigation, and they did none. And they basically arrested Michelle Allen because she didn't respect her authority. She arrested her for failure to ID when she wasn't required by law to ID. If they arrested her and they can get her down to the station, they can get her ID then. Other than that, it should not be the principal reason for the arrest, and that's what it was. Failure to ID is a secondary crime. There has to be an original crime, but that's not what she arrested her for, because she couldn't arrest her for that because she did no investigation. She had no clue what transpired in the meeting, and because she didn't bother to investigate. She thinks getting somebody's ID is investigating. She's ridiculous. Anyway, that's my review of the audit's analysis. Like I said, I think it was through 324,000 visitors so far, in growing, and I'm hoping that the district attorney and the Oswego County sheriffs learn something from this and get their act together, so they don't expose the taxpayers to legal liability for absolutely no reason. train your deputies properly, train them to de-escalate, and train them not to be creating problems that they're supposed to be minimizing problems. It's ridiculous. I'm very disappointed in the behaviors of the district attorney and the sheriff. And by the way, the sheriff colluded with Barney to premeditate this arrest. And you know why the sheriff would associate with a known criminal like this is just beyond me. So you know they you know this is not a personal attack on the district attorney. I didn't even know his name until a few weeks ago. It's not personal. It certainly isn't political. It's their behaviors that's a problem. Same thing with the sheriff. I didn't even know his name until probably a month ago. And so it's not personal. It's not political. It's not. It's just bad policing. And you know they seem to think that we work for them, not the other way around. And they need to understand they work for the public, and they are the stewards of the public's money, and they need to you know just not just be creating these legal issues that creates you know more jobs for the judiciary, for the public defender, for the sheriffs, for the jailers, for the you know it's just it costs the taxpayers money. This scenario is going to cost the taxpayers at least $100,000, probably more like 300,000. And if the Manel claim goes through, it could be a couple $1,000,000 bucks. For what? Deputy Gregory should have told them to move along, and that should have been the end of it. This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy.